It is one of the most anticipated opening games in recent memory in Lawrence, Kansas. Les Miles makes his head coaching debut for the Kansas Jayhawks as they take on the Indiana State Sycamores. All part of our year-long celebration of 150 years of college football. Hi, everybody. Alex Faust here with the former NFL quarterback Jordan Palmer. There is a game to be played here inside the lines today, but make no mistake, it is about the head coach for the Jayhawks as Les Miles makes his debut.
Yeah, you know, he's currently one of 5 coaches that are coaching college football who have a national championship on their resume. This town is electric. He's bringing a bunch of discipline, he's bringing a ton of experience, and he's bringing an excitement they haven't felt around here in a long time. There's also some excitement, though, to see who's going to be playing quarterback for them today. Thomas McVitie is a transfer coming in, been competing all offseason, and Carter Stanley, the 5th-year senior returning, also in contention for the starting job. Who's going to start, or are they both going to play? Excited to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, and make no mistake, the Jayhawks are not exactly easing into the season here. They're taking on an Indiana State team that is not only confident, they are experienced, especially up front. This is a group that has a lot of senior depth up front.
You know, they don't turn it over. They run the ball well. Senior quarterback Ryan Boyle, he can throw it, but he's a dynamic runner as well. It'll be running back by committee, and they'll be doing it behind 5 senior returning starting offensive linemen, and they're coming off a 5-game win streak this past season, and they're confident.
Yeah, the Sycamores ranked 16th in the preseason FCS poll. They've got their eyes set on an FCS playoff berth. The Kansas Jayhawks have their eyes set on the start of a new era. Kickoff from Lawrence next.
Big 12 football is brought to you by Ford. Visit your Best in Texas Ford dealer today and see why Ford is America's best-selling brand.
Couldn't ask for a more perfect day as Kansas takes the field. Les Miles at the helm. All the attention, all the excitement centered around this man, but business to be done against a tough Indiana State team. And they are led by Curt Mallory, the reigning Missouri Valley Coach of the Year, finalist for National FCS Coach of the Year. This is a program that 2 years ago didn't win a single game, 0-11 in 2017. They bounced back to finish 7-4 last year, including 5 straight wins to finish the year. They are one of the favorites in the Missouri Valley and potentially have their sights set on an FCS playoff berth. Kansas won the toss, they'll receive. Jerry Nunez to kick off. And a highly anticipated new era for college football here in Lawrence, Kansas is about to commence. Away we go. This is taken by Kenny Logan Jr. and he stumbles before getting hit hard at the 17.5-yard line. Daphne with the tackle. So the question mark, as you mentioned in our open, Jordan, who would be at quarterback for the Kansas Jayhawks? They have 2 options. Both are very similar, and the answer is the 5th-year senior Carter Stanley.
You know, and good for him. Carter Stanley, this is his 5th offense that he's learned in the last 5 years. And finally getting some stability and a bunch of experience with Les Miles and Les Keening, the offensive coordinator. Excited to see this senior make his first start here of the season.
Spent his entire career at Kansas. He's been in the running for the job, as you mentioned, and he starts under center here. A handoff to Khalil Herbert, and Herbert breaks free. Down the sideline, Herbert pushed out near midfield.
As a quarterback,
got him in the end.
As a quarterback making your first start, one of the best things you can have happen is a free big chunk play. The Sycamores lose contain on the weak side, and they just create a ton of space, and it's off to the races.
31-yard run for Khalil Herbert, who before Puka Williams emerged last year as a freshman. Herbert was Kansas' #1 running back. 530 yards on the ground last year. And a first down for the Jayhawks just past midfield. Quick throw, caught by Andrew Parchment. A stiff arm from Parchment. And a gain of 6. The tackle made by Jonas Griffith, the All-American middle linebacker for the Sycamores. Kansas will make some substitutions, Jordan, as we know throughout the day. They've said they want to be pretty deep on this offensive line.
Yeah, it seems like the left side is shored up, and we're going to see 6 or 7 linemen play today.
2nd and 6 for the Jayhawks. Fake the handoff as Stanley rolls out and completes along the near sideline. Daylan Charlotte, transfer from Alabama, with the reception and a first down for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, and I love what offensive coordinator Les Keating's doing, you know, getting in a rhythm for the quarterback, a screen play on the second. Now getting him outside the pocket. He's a really good athlete. He's comfortable on the run. Doesn't force the ball here, just getting chunk yardage.
1st and 10 at the 34. Stanley with a handoff and nowhere to run for Herbert. Loss of 3. Michael Gantz with the tackle, the senior from Terre Haute, Indiana, right in the home backyard of the Sycamores.
Yeah, and speaking with defensive coordinator Brad Wilson from the Sycamores, he was really excited to see who besides Jonas Griffith is going to step up and make plays, who up front is going to make their presence felt, and they're doing it early.
Dom Williams now in the backfield for the Jayhawks. 2nd and 13. Williams gets the call, burrows his way about 4 or 5. And Rick Barnes, the sophomore from Colorado, with the tackle, and Dom Williams, the original number 2 before Puka Williams, who is suspended for this game. We'll talk more about that as we go along.
Dom Williams getting a great opportunity with Puka Williams out of the lineup to make a name for himself and get some yardage early in the season.
3rd and 9. Quick completion to Parchment, and he is stopped well short. Khalif Copeland with the tackle, and the Jayhawks, though getting that chunk play, stall out.
Yeah, and still conservative on 3rd down. You know, getting a screen. You know, they're in field goal position. You don't want to drop back and create and push yourself out of that position with a sack or forcing the ball down the field. And so I like the play calling. It's conservative, and yet they're still going to get a chance to put points on the board. And Carter Stanley getting the first start, that's really what you want. You want to drive down the field and put your team in a position to make some to put some points on the board.
Talk about a quarterback competition. There was one for place kicking as well, as Liam Jones misfires here. Jones, the junior from Oklahoma, worked kickoffs the last 2 years and a couple of PATs, but misses wide here. So Kansas, their first series, unable to convert. No score early. 49-yard field goal attempt from Liam Jones goes wide. And so this group for Indiana State, led by Kurt Mallory, takes the field. Quarterback Ryan Boyle, one of the captains on this club. Second team all-conference last year, and the newcomer of the year in the Missouri Valley. All that experience up front, and a handoff to Titus McCoy. Gains 2 off the hop. Ron Johnson with the tackle there. Jordan, you mentioned how much of a value it is to get this much experience. 5 seniors up front.
Yeah, you don't see it often, and that's going to be the matchup to watch, them versus a Big 12 defensive line.
Second down, slant route caught by Dante Hendricks. Picks up a couple here. This is exactly what you might expect from Indiana State. They're patient, they're confident, they're experienced, and they go up against a Kansas defense that maybe was one of the better ones in the Big 12. They were on the field quite a lot. But this is a team that led the Big 12 in takeaways last year, 27 of them. 3rd and 4 for the Sycamores. their own 37. Montrez Morgan in motion, and Boyle completes a dart to Dakota Caton, but he'll come up short of the line to gain. Mike Lee with the tackle, and a 3 and out for the Sycamores to begin.
Huge for the Kansas defense, especially after a missed field goal, to be able to put them, but it looks like they're lining up here.
Yeah, they are going to line it up. Aggressive play calling, and do they get it? Yes, sir.
Well, when you look at the strength of the Sycamores offense, being up front with, as we mentioned before, 5 returning starters, all seniors, it's not just a benefit in the passing game. It puts you in a position where you're confident enough on 4th and 1 in your own territory to be able to go on the road and make that call and then go ahead and execute. That's a huge confidence boost for this Sycamore offense.
I'm talking to Mike Switzer, their offensive coordinator, earlier this week. This team carries a bit of swagger with them, and they show it right there. McCoy searching for room, gets out near midfield, took a hard shot in the end by Bryce Tornaden.
You know, in talking with some of the offensive linemen for the Sycamores, you know, who are they most excited about at running back? They all had different answers, and I think that's where a lot of confidence comes today. It's going to be a lot of Titus McCoy, but we're going to see Peterson Curlegrand in here as well, and Chris Childers as they continue to be running back committee until somebody can really separate themselves from the pack.
After McCoy picks up 7, 2nd and 3. Boyle, 2-step drop, picked off. Hassan defense with the interception, and with daylight. Pick 6. Jayhawks have the lead.
And just a missed communication, a heartbreaker for Ryan Boyle. He's thinking one thing, receivers thinking another. Just a tough spot to be able to have that 4th down conversion momentum going your way, and a clear miscommunication between quarterback and wide receiver, and as costly as it gets with Hassan defense taking it back to the house.
He had 3 INTs last year. And as Liam Jones tacks on the extra point, it's a 63-yarder. Taken to the house by Hassan defense. And Kansas is up 7-0. So far, so good for Les Miles and the Kansas Jayhawks. 7-0 over Indiana State. Largely in the back of their defense. One of their strongest assets last year. As the Jayhawk offense goes back to work. Pinned deep just a bit. Starting from their own 9-yard line. Herbert lowers his shoulder and picks up 5 here. We've talked about the running game for Kansas. They are without Puka Williams. We alluded to it earlier. A 6-month suspension in the offseason and sitting out this game after an offseason domestic battery arrest. Once they have him back, Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year last year, don't forget. Once they have him back, they're going to have a deep running game. For now, Herbert and Williams worked out just fine as their top 2 today. Herbert again. Oh, this time met. And the second wave brings him down. Day Hendricks. Excuse me, Clayton Glasgow coming in with the tackle.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Puka Williams to be sitting out this first game, but when you think about what Les Miles has done in the past at LSU, you know, when you have that success for that long, you really have to live by a next man up mentality, and the next man up is Khalil Herbert as well as Dom Williams, and it's creating an opportunity for these guys in week 1 to get some much needed carries, get their hands on the ball, get some experience.
Timeout.
And still trying to move the ball down here for the Jayhawks.
Indiana State trying to get a late substitution in. They weren't going to get it done in time, so they take a timeout, and we'll step aside as well. 7-0 Kansas in the first. Kansas Jayhawks entering a new era with Les Miles on the sideline. A solid crowd for opening day here in Lawrence. a chance to talk with Les yesterday. 30 minutes and just raving about it. His family being here with him in Lawrence. Loves the town, and I can't blame him. This is our first time here, Jordan. It is gorgeous. What a setting.
He's got a storied background, but man, he's just appeared to be so excited to be here, so honored to be here, and it's fun for him getting his first start.
A 3rd and 5 here for the Jayhawks. Struggled last year in this department, and they're not going to make much out of this. Dalen Charlotte with a reception. It'll be a 4-yard loss.
You know, the Jayhawks, speaking with Les Keenan, the offensive coordinator yesterday, they were eager to see who their offensive playmaker was going to be besides Cooper Williams. And getting a lot of screens called early in this game, trying to get their playmakers in space. They haven't hit on one yet, but it's only a matter of time until somebody gets in the open field.
Dante Hendricks creeps in towards midfield and picks it up at the 45. Hendricks swarmed immediately. Run back 4. And Indiana State will start just on the side of midfield. Les Miles, of course, he has experience in the Big 12. His first head coaching gig in this league back at Oklahoma State, where he resurrected that program. They're hoping for a lot of the same here at Kansas. Of course, his tenure at LSU, National Coach of the Year in 2011, won the national championship in 2007, and they're committed. 5-year deal that he signed with Kansas, and the commitment goes both ways. We heard it over and over talking with him yesterday. Commitment ranks near the top of his list of things he wants to have here, both from his staff and also from his players.
And he's the first piece, but we're hearing a lot of fundraising about the new stadium, adding to the facilities. They built the indoor. Kansas football heading in the right direction.
So Boyle starts 2 yards shy of midfield and completes to Dante Hendricks. Pick up a 5 with Mike Lee making the stop as Mallory looks on. These two have run in with one another. Miles and Mallory, both Michigan men.
Yeah, and Les Miles, you can make the argument he's trying to do in the next year or two what Kurt Mallory just did. Again, we referenced earlier the fact that they did not win a game 2 years ago and ended last year with a 5-game win streak.
Peterson Curlegram is able to pick up a first down here. Gain of 6. Azur Kamara with the stop, and Indiana State with that senior offensive line continuing to run effectively.
And that's the first we've seen from Peterson Curlegram at running back. And you know, last year the Sycamore running back group was decimated by injuries. 2 players out for the season. They played 4 or 5 different running backs. Peterson was a guy who came in, had a big game last year, and finally getting a chance to touch the ball today. We're going to see a lot of him today as well.
Chris Morgan in motion as Boyle picks up a yard. You know, the question of whether he was going to be mobile or not, he certainly has the tools to do it, and last year put up some just great numbers on the ground as well.
Yeah, and I know we saw the pick 6 earlier, but with Ryan Boyle, tough between the tackles. He's yet to get out in space, but he's a guy who's also really taken care of the ball this past season. Again, unfortunate event earlier today, but the rest of the throws have been conservative throws, running tough between the tackles. It's only a matter of time until he gets out.
Rushed for 600+ yards last year. Brand picks up a couple of yards on 2nd down. It'll bring up 3rd and long. Brady with the tackle for the Jayhawks.
And this Sycamore offense has got to start pushing the ball down the field. We've seen a lot of screens really out of both offenses so far, trying to get their playmakers in space, trying to get the defensive front to move laterally, side to side, to get them tired so they can continue to attack the middle of the field in the run game. But for the Sycamore offense, it's going to come down to these 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8s, and trying to be able to push the ball vertically down the field.
So that brings us to the end of the quarter, and we shall see how the next page of that story winds up here for the Sycamores on a 3rd and long when we come back. A pick six, the only score of the game, as the Jayhawks lead by 7 at the end of the one. We're expecting a nice crowd, and they got one here in Lawrence. 7-0 for the Jayhawks.
You know, before we went to break, Jayhawks were lined up in a cover 0. Looked like they were going to bring everybody. Let's see if they're coming out with that same approach.
Caton in motion at the top on a 3rd and 8. Complete to the outside, and being hauled down out of bounds is Curligran. Jeremiah McCullough with the tackle. It's well shy of the line to gain. We've already seen Indiana State go for it on 4th down, and as of right now, they're keeping that unit on the field.
Coming back out of the break, line everybody up in a gap, showing a look of pressure, and they drop everybody and bring 4. Great job by the Jayhawks defense, keeping everything in front of them, forcing 4th and short here. Brian Boyle trying to direct traffic.
5 at the 30.
Trying to draw him offside, and they'll take a timeout instead.
Timeout, Indiana State. Second charge timeout of the half. Media timeout.
So, 4th down for the Sycamores, and decision time when we come back.
This is going to be the story of the game for these guys today. Can they convert a healthy percentage of these 3rd and longs?
Boyle drops back, has time, rolls out, backs up, under pressure, throws it away.
It's the first time
he brought the pressure.
It's the first time we've seen the Sycamore offense get into an empty formation. No one in the backfield, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. When you do that with a running quarterback, somebody who's a threat like Boyle, you don't want to move backwards when you get pressure. You got an opportunity to attack the line of scrimmage, force that defense to make an open field tackle. He didn't see what he didn't get the look that he wanted as he was looking left, but continuing to attack the line of scrimmage, great opportunities.
Nunez was wide right with a 51-yarder earlier. This from 45, and he misses again. Again, the Jayhawks force a long field goal. Again, they come away with the field goal being no good. 7-0 Jayhawks. Big 12 football is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. With quality parts and know-how, Napa Auto Parts and Auto Care Centers can help keep your car on the road. Gale Sayers, the Kansas Comet. 2-time All-America selection for the Jayhawks. Led them in rushing, touchdowns, kickoff returns. Hoping that they can get a few more stars to line the perimeter of this stadium in the next couple of years. They're making a big investment here in Lawrence. As Carter Stanley returns along with the Jayhawk offense. After the missed field goal, he threw it into a dangerous spot, but gets away with it with an incompletion on 1st down.
Yeah, we saw pass interference last series. Slot receiver getting with defender out of position, and now they're running a very similar concept where the receiver is hooking up at 15. And Carter Stanley doing a better job getting his feet set. Just a miscommunication on the accuracy.
Julian Chandler was in the area. Check that. Hamid O'Delly was in the area for Indiana State. And it's a better look from Kansas for their bread and butter, and it's Khalil Herbert once again. 10-yard run, 1st down for the Jayhawks.
And if you're offensive coordinator Les Keening, this is a very exciting play. They line up, they've got a fullback in the backfield, a tailback, something we don't see too often in college. Great job kicking out Luavasa, a tight end, fullback ISO, getting 10-11 yards. This formation, this personnel group's good. Stanley,
Lots of time, heaves it, sideline, and a leaping grab made by Stephon Robinson. First down for the Jayhawks in plus territory.
And that's exactly what that last 10-yard run sets up, the play action. Being able to be in there with 2 backs in the backfield, heavy fullback, ISO, they're staying in it.
A little bit of hurry up here for the Jayhawks. As Herbert, after a little misdirection, gets past the tackler, and Herbert with another chunk play. Another Jayhawk first down after a 20-yard run for Khalil Herbert.
This is what fullback Hudson Hall has an opportunity to create for this offense. You got a defense that's on their heels, Big 12 O-line coming at them. ISO, counter, toss now, play action.
And again, it's Herbert. Again, it's a first down. And the Jayhawks are motoring now, a pickup of 11. Kansas quick to the line again. A little pitch off the hands of Herbert. He'll secure the ball and turtle on top of it.
Yeah, as an offense, when you're going to change personnel groupings like they have, but when you find one that works, Hudson Hall at fullback, you're overwhelming the defense. They're going hurry up. They're not giving the Sycamore defense an opportunity to substitute in the personnel that they want. But after that mishap, they go ahead, they offensively change the personnel group, defense matches. Now it's back to the chess game between coordinators.
Les Kenning was talking about that communication. So far, so good. Williams cuts back. Williams spins, gets by the first wave, and is finally brought down by Tier Turner, a gain of 2.
And that's an impressive 2-yard gain because it could have very easily been a loss of 2. Dom Williams making a move in space, giving him something, and then getting vertical and trying to get back to the line of scrimmage in this case. Getting him back to a 3rd and a little bit more manageable, 3rd and 11.
Another test for Carter Stanley and the Jayhawks, who the 2nd worst team in the Big 12, converting on 3rd downs last year. Stanley running out of time, completes, but don't get much out of it. If anything, Belton Gardner with the catch. Loss of 1 in the end. Clayton Glasgow brought him down, and the field goal unit will come on for the Jayhawks.
This is a great play by Clayton Glasgow, fighting through an offensive lineman. It's just a miscommunication in terms of offensive lineman. You know, the timing of screens, it's still week 1 for these guys. The timing of screen, when does the offensive line turn around to engage the defense? Just slightly off, and that was the difference between a big play and a field goal attempt.
So Liam Jones, who missed from 49 earlier, this from 36. Drills it. The Jayhawks tack on their lead. 10-7 Kansas. On the end, the drive stalls out, but the Jayhawks tack on a couple more. 10-0 Kansas. Play, 55-yard drive for the Kansas Jayhawks, resulting in a field goal. Overall impression on that drive?
You know, I think it's a great job by Carter Stanley coming back, putting one together. We're also seeing Khalil Herbert get out in space. Saw it on the opening drive. Breaking contain. It's these chunk run plays, and also a spectacular catch on the sideline.
Dakota Caton just in front of his goal line. We'll run it out. Caton slips by 1. He's hit hard at the 17-yard line after a run back of 15. Let's take a look at today's Bass Pro and Cabela's catch of the day. I think this qualifies.
This is going to be in contention. Stephon Robinson. You know, he's running a comeback, so he's turning over his outside shoulder. Ball's thrown high and inside. That is a difficult, not just ball to catch, that's a difficult ball to track. You know, you're expecting that ball to be low and outside. I think Carter had someone in his face, so for him to come out of his break, track that ball, find it, elevate, get 2 hands on it, come down. And that really got them the momentum on that drive, allowed them to stay in that same fullback, 2 back in the backfield personnel group and put pressure on the Sycamore defense. Resulted in 3 points for him.
Flag here.
Game. Offense. Number 10. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
They were taking a while to get organized, and Boyle, I don't think, had his eyes located on that play clock. Not even close to getting ready.
when you're an FCS school coming in this situation, this environment, it's the unforced errors you can't make. They had time on the sideline, put it together, get the situation you want. So now they got a little longer field.
From the 12 on first down, and Boyle slings it to the outside for Dante Hendricks. Gain of 6.
We've seen Hendricks line up in a lot of different positions. We've seen him come across in motion. He's caught the ball lined up as an outside receiver. He's an inside receiver. Doing a really good job moving him around as he continues to add to the stat sheet. Really good job, offense coordinator Mike Switzer moving around his playmaker.
McCoy gets the call on second down and ran into the pile.
You know, one of the things I know the Sycamore offense wanted to do is, we mentioned, you know, they have 5 senior returning starters, but they've got a 6'7", 360-pound left guard in Isaiah Edwards. Some NFL scouts looking at him, and so trying to be able to get behind him and let him push that pile. He's a guy that, biggest guy on the field and probably on any field.
6'7", 360.
360.
Call him Tuna.
You may have seen him from Last Chance U a few seasons ago.
4 receivers to choose from this side of the field. Dejon Collins tripped up in the backfield. Mike Lee with the tackle, but a penalty marker here.
Stop by number 11, Mike Lee. There's a flag on play.
If this is on Indiana State, it'll be a 3 and out.
Holding. Offense. Number 19. No penalties declined. 4th down.
Dante Collins, one of those 4 wide receivers in a diamond formation here to choose from. The guilty party.
Trying to create a mismatch, trying to get an extra hat on a hat by the 3 receivers in front of Hendricks, and unfortunately, when you do that, you stretch the field laterally. These defenders can get out of position. You can be in a position where you're trying to make a great block, but you end up holding them. And that was the case there.
The redshirt senior with the penalty. 3 and out for the Sycamores. And Reiner. Pooch kick. Skips past midfield, forces Kwame Lassiter to backtrack, and Indiana State's going to be fortunate, although well behind the play. There was a wrestling match going on between Hassan Defense and Michael Thomas. 2 penalty markers coming.
Both those players, key defensive starters on both squads, and getting a little aggressive. Post play, unfortunately, that one's behind the play. That play's dead. You know, they were mixing it up. Yeah, and I love the aggressiveness. I don't like the position that he got out of, and also
after the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, kicking team number 13. 15-yard penalty from the end of the kick. That is number 13's first unsportsmanlike penalty. Media timeout.
The first bit was okay, but the second not so much. So Kansas will be backed up even further when we come back. Jordan, you ever get up in the morning and contemplate having this as your headgear?
Not so much as my headgear, but that jacket.
I like the jacket.
Is fire. He's got the necklace too. He's all student section.
Yeah, I like it. That's after the 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty. Kansas backed up inside their own 20 as Williams tumbles his way forward for 5. Caleb Brewer with the tackle. Jonas Griffith in there as well, the All-American.
This is where I would expect to see the veteran experience of Carter Stanley. Just under 4 minutes left in this half. 10-point lead. No costly mistakes. Run the ball. Try and put points on the board, but make sure that you're the last offense to touch the ball this half. Excited to see if you can put a really solid 85-yard drive together.
Tight end Mason Fairchild in motion, and Stanley, I think, had a little bit of miscommunication at the line. So a timeout for the Jayhawks with 3:37 to go in the half.
And that was a big point of emphasis. A lot of personnel group changes, a lot of different players in there, not just up front for the Jayhawk offense, but also at the skill positions. And it is that communication. It's making sure that the right people are in there, they're lined up correctly. You watch this game on TV, you think it's easy, but at the same time, there's so much communication that has to happen from the booth to the sideline to the quarterback, and then to the other position coaches, getting everybody out there. And it's week one. You know, this is the first game for everybody. But when you have a senior quarterback like Carter Stanley directing traffic, you know, it's okay when these things end in timeouts. But so far, they've been able to avoid these things ending in penalties.
Week one for this entire coaching staff as well. Really, the only one who's kept around is one of the defensive coaches, safeties coach Clint Bowen, who's worked as a defensive coordinator before. Williams is ripped down in the backfield. He picked up one. Brewer brought him down. I'm going to mark him down for a loss here. So, down and long for the Jayhawks now. So what is marked down as a loss of 4.
Can't have a turnover here. Got to be conservative, but still give yourself a chance to extend the drive.
Motion up front. Kelvin Broom Jr. flinched and may have drawn the Jayhawks. Take a false start.
False start. Offense. Number 4. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
One of the storylines that we had heard too about Carter Stanley from Vero Beach, Florida. Scary hurricane heading towards there. His family unable to make it. Our thoughts and prayers, not just with the Stanley family as they're going through this, but also that entire community this weekend.
No doubt. His family has come to every game. And now Stanley with a 3rd and 14, drops back. Screen pass complete, but immediately swarmed on the play. Clayton Glasgow came in for the hit, and now Kansas to punt from inside their own 15.
And this is the second time we've seen Clayton Glasgow read this screen out. Now, obviously, the situation here, this far backed up, this much time left in the game, you don't expect them to take 5 steps from gun and drive the ball down the field, but great job by Clayton Glasgow, reading it out, sniffing it out, and finishing the play with a tackle.
Kyle Thompson had to do a lot of punting last year, but he was effective in doing so. Top returning punter in the Big 12. As he drives Dante Hendricks back, and Hendricks has nowhere to go. Just shy of the 38-yard line. Of course, week 1 in college football and around the Big 12. Les Miles, we've talked about a lot here today, but one of 4 new head coaches in the Big 12. How about Texas? And it adds a lot of juice to that Red River rivalry to have Texas back in the top 10. Sam Ehlinger could be a Heisman contender. And for those 3 touchdowns in against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Jalen Hurts transferring in from Alabama. That's the biggest grad transfer in the history of grad transfers, Jordan.
It is, and it was a quarterback competition, but make no mistake, I think they have their 3rd Heisman contender in a row.
Here's Titus McCoy on 1st down, past midfield. And all the way to the Jayhawk 43.
So important for the Sycamore offense to end this drive with points. Just under 2 minutes left. Big play on 1st down there. They've got to be able to go ahead and get the ball either in the end zone or at least get off the field with a made field goal.
21-yard run. Sets up 1st down for the Sycamores. And it's McCoy again stumbling his way all the way to the 34-yard line.
And it's behind Isaiah Edwards, the big boy, number 55, 6'7", 360, not 260, 360. Finding success behind that left side of the line in the run game.
On 2nd and 1. Caught on the outside by Dante Hendricks.
And that's Hendricks' 7th catch of the 1st half. let alone in the return game. Very, very active. And again, as an offensive coordinator here, Mike Switzer, just taking what the defense gives them. Great job by Ryan Boyle distributing the football. You don't have to force into the tight windows right now and get too aggressive. The defense is continuing to play soft at the cornerback position, and they're hitting them with these little quick out routes, these flat routes, continuing to get these 4, 5, 6 yard gains in the pass game. At some point, they're going to have an opportunity to get behind this defense.
First down with 1:13 to go in the first half. Boyle heaves it complete to Rontrez Morgan. A rocket from Boyle, and Morgan hauled it in. Indiana State with their best look at getting on the board in this game.
Yeah, and Boyle had 2 receivers in the same spot right here. This last play, I'm not sure if he was going outside. He also had about a 14-yard out route from the slot receiver.
Under a minute to go. And Boyle, soft touch, looking back shoulder, but overthrows the intended target. Second down.
Yeah, and it's a spectacular catch by Rontrez Morgan here. But he had 2 guys in the same area. Sometimes you get an opportunistic. And Rontrez making a great catch. He's been quiet today, but that's what they need. They need someone else besides Dante Hendricks to be able to step up and make plays for them. That was a big one there, but can they finish this drive?
Catch of the afternoon. This offense with McCoy bringing it to the 5. One of the best in the red zone last year in FCS football. Led their league in the Missouri Valley, 5th in the nation in red zone conversions. Scored on 42 of 46 possessions in the red zone.
Huge third down for Ryan Boyle here. Got 1 timeout left. Enough time for this play or one other behind it.
Boyle tosses it over the head of the target, Dante Jones. There's a flag. Mike Lee with a little bit of contact before the ball was in the area. And does that give second life to Indiana State here?
Pass interference, defense, number 11. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed on the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
Dante Jones getting an outside release on Mike Lee. Really an accurate ball. It's where you want to do it. You want to pin him to the back of the end zone. But Mike Lee getting too handsy. It's going to have to be a spectacular catch and get a fresh set of downs.
First and goal, 14 seconds to go. McCoy searching for room, comes up short. Tackle made by Jelani Brown, and with 10 seconds left, Indiana State expends their final timeout.
And this is going to be decision-making time. 10 seconds left in the half. Burn their final timeout. You know, running the ball to the left again, trying to give themselves a chance behind Isaiah Edwards. But it's decision-making time. That's why clock management is so important. When you have a senior quarterback, experienced coach like Kurt Mallory, you look to really make sure that you get points when there's opportunity at the end of the half, and they've got a decision to make here. Whether they take the 3 or they say, you know what, we're coming off of a 5-game win streak this last year. We're on the road. We're down 10 going into the half. Do we try and punch this thing in?
Just 10 seconds left here in the half. Coming up at the half, we'll send you to Los Angeles. Rob Stone, Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, Matt Leiner, Urban Meyer, the whole gang previewing the weekend's matchups. USC in action, Houston, Oklahoma. Be a fun one. Our first look at Jalen Hurts. Notre Dame, Louisville. And Oregon, Auburn, the only top 25 matchup this weekend. So, Ryan Boyle, the 2 captains for Indiana State. 10 seconds. And a second and goal here from the 2. Boyle, pass to the end zone. And out of bounds when he secured it was Dante Hendricks. He tried as hard as he could to drag one of those feet in, but was in midair when making the catch. Ruled incomplete. 5 seconds on the clock.
This is actually a great throw, great effort by Dante Hendricks. Catches it so close to getting that foot in.
We'll take a look. Oh, maybe.
Wow. I'll tell you what, if this toe is in bounds, that Bass Pro Shops catch of the day we played before is out, and this is in. I also love the play call here by Mike Switzer. You know, you can't run the ball with 10 seconds. You run the clock, you run the ball, and you don't score a touchdown. That's the end of the half. If you drop back and you take too long, and you give the defense a chance to get a sack, then the clock can run out again. So it's got to be touchdown or incompletion. Oh my goodness, that's close. So it's got to be a quick pass. And really, there's only one place to go, and that's the back corner of the end zone if you're going to get rid of it quick. So you don't have no chance of a sack. If it's a touchdown, it's a touchdown. If it's not, it's incomplete. You get a shot, give your offense another chance with 5 seconds left here. A lot of reactions on the field.
Yeah. Mostly from that Indiana State bench. Take another look. Wow.
And this is going to come down to what the call was on the field and if it's reversible beyond the shadow of a doubt.
I'll tell you what, we saw that earlier with the forward pass that was called a lateral.
After further review, the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass stands.
That is razor thin.
That is one of the best incomplete passes I've seen in a long time.
That's a heck of an effort. So one more shot for the Sycamores. Try to get on the board before the half, and they'll attempt this chip shot here. And indeed, it will not be a scoreless half for Indiana State, but what might have been. From 7, potentially, down to 3. And a little bit of momentum with a good drive, scoring drive, that maybe gashed this Kansas defense just a bit.
Well, they've showed that they can move the ball down the field on them, and they're getting the ball to start the second half, and that's really what you want. You know, you put together a long drive. I thought they managed the clock really well, benefited from the pass interference call, but again, that was a great throw and a great route, even with the pass interference. And then again, a spectacular incomplete pass with Hendricks in the back corner of the end zone. And, I think that's exactly what this Sycamore offense needed to do. They're having success running behind the left side of their line. Ryan Boyle is taking care of the ball. They're taking what they give them. Dante Hendricks with 7 catches in the first half. It's a busy day for him. And Kansas, you know, they've shown a lot of different looks. They've lined up to bring the house. They've bailed out of it. They've played zone coverage. We've seen both offenses, both defenses change personnel groupings, change up coverages. This has been a really fun matchup to watch because there's some great players on the field, but there's also a great chess game going on between these different coordinators.
Two really talented head coaches. Not only with the championship caliber yet with Les Miles, but the job that Kurt Mallory has done at Indiana State. So with 1 tick on the clock, see if this indeed wraps us up. Indeed, we will go into the half with the score: Kansas 10, Indiana State 3. Coming up, send you to Los Angeles for our halftime show with Rob Stone, Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and Urban Meyer. Low-scoring one in Les Miles' debut here in Kansas. The Jayhawks with the lead. Halftime in Lawrence, Kansas. The Jayhawks up 10-3 over the Indiana State Sycamores. Hi, everybody. Alex Faust, Jordan Palmer here with you. All the headlines, obviously, are for Les Miles coming into this game. So I'll ask you 2 things. Impressions from the first half, and whether or not this is just Kansas playing to their strengths.
Well, one of the things that you would expect with Les Miles is they're going to play discipline. They have really limited penalties. They have played relatively mistake-free football. very few miscommunications. And the other thing is that they talked about it a lot in our meetings before yesterday. You know, they've tackled really well. We have not seen a lot of explosive plays due to missed tackles. I think we've seen a lot of discipline out of this Kansas football team.
Yeah, they run the ball effectively. We know how well they can tackle. We know that this was one of the better defensive teams in the Big 12. Now the question is, can they get this offense to stay on the field a little bit longer? Yeah, you have the defensive touchdown and the field goal here. But for this Kansas team, if they're going to compete in the Big 12, they're going to need more from this offense.
They're going to need some explosive plays down the field, too. You know, they're running the ball well. Khalil Herbert has gotten in space. A lot of it has been being able to bounce it outside and break contain Khalil Herbert, who has some speed. And again, they're still missing Puka Williams, their key back here. But they've done a great job of getting in space today. But can Carter Stanley push the ball down the field? Can they get the ball in the hands of their playmakers beyond 15, 20, 25 yards? When they get to Big 12 play, it's going to be a game of explosive plays. We haven't seen any today, but there's still a half to play.
Best defense in the Big 12 last year when it came to takeaways, and they have another defensive touchdown. They led the Big 12 in that category as well. So for the Jayhawks, you're again playing to their strengths, and they get one on the board early.
They did, you know, and that's one thing that they've done in the past. When they get their hands on the ball, they've been able to catch it and take it back. Hassan defense just being opportunistic on a miscommunication by Ryan Boyle and his wide receiver, taking it back the other way, getting points on the board early, getting some momentum in their favor. But they've got to be able to do more of it. And I'd also look to see Kansas be able to develop more of a pass rush. It's important for today, but again, as we talk about them getting into Big 12 play, they're going to have to be able to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. And against this senior-led offensive line by Indiana State, 5 returning senior starters, this is going to be a great opportunity in the second half for them to be able to create that pressure that's going to be needed the rest of this season for the Kansas Jayhawk defense.
Indiana State will have the ball to begin the second half. As we take a look at our Timberland first half stats, not a lot on the ground for this Indiana State team. You talk about the senior-laden offensive line, but they've been ineffective as of yet.
Yeah, they have, and it's the same story for this Sycamore offense. Their inability to make explosive plays beyond 15, 20, 25 yards down the field. Dante Hendricks, huge first half, 7 catches. They've all been short perimeter throws, taking advantage of what the defense gives them. But at some point, you've got to put pressure on this secondary, and I would say the same for both offenses.
Yeah. To be fair, they almost had a spectacular touchdown to end the first half, the Sycamores, and they are outgaining Kansas in terms of total offense, first downs, and time of possession.
And that's what you would expect. The way that this Sycamore offense has been able to run the ball between the tackles. You know, Titus McCoy has been able to get in space a couple of times, but again, it's going to come down to, can they create explosive plays? It's going to be needed in both conferences if they're going to compete and continue to build these programs the way that Sycamores have been able to do the last 2 years, and the way that Kansas Jayhawks are looking to do this year.
Last drive, 9 plays, 60 yards, minute 46. Pretty good 2-minute drill. Hoping for more. William Jones will kick things off as we start the second half in Lawrence. This will bounce out of the back of the end zone for a touchback.
Ryan Boyle created some momentum, end of the half, putting points on the board, almost a spectacular touchdown, as you know. He's 12 for 17 in the first half, very efficient, but that's been the story for him. These last 2 years, efficiency has been his mantra. He doesn't turn it over. Had the miscommunication today, but he's efficient. We haven't really seen him get in space yet as a runner either. He's been pretty gobbled up, and when he's been hit hard too. But this second half, can he get in space? Can he push the ball down the field?
Hendricks was his favorite target in the first half. 7 catches for Dante Hendricks. As they keep things on the ground to start the second half. Titus McCoy, meanwhile, picks up 1 here. His 12th attempt, 71 yards for McCoy on the day, the junior from Greenwood, Indiana.
Expected to see more running back by committee, but Titus McCoy has been effective.
Well, drops back. completes along the edge to Dante Jones. Lost his footing after a gain of 3, and a 3rd down and 6 upcoming for the Sycamores.
I think this second half it's going to be imperative for Mike Switzer, offensive coordinator for Indiana State, to get to 3rd and short. They've had so many 3rd downs, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. And with as much screens as they've called on there, showing a little bit of a lack of confidence to push the ball down the field. They've got to get to 3rd and manageable in the second half.
Boyle well protected. Over the middle, it's caught. It's Jones, and Jones with some daylight. Finally closed down on in the end. But a huge play, 41-yard catch and run for Dante Jones, and the Sycamores on cue have a big play.
And this is just a well-executed progression and great ball placement by Ryan Boyle. They're getting man, they've got a rub route, people coming across the field, gets to his 3rd progression over the ball, and when you do that versus man, there's space after the catch.
McCoy spins away from the first tackle and picks up 6 on 1st down.
These are the explosive plays, going back to that that huge gain here by the Sycamore offense. Is you don't have to necessarily drive the ball down the field to be able to create those chunk yardage. Sometimes just going through your progression on a well-designed play versus the defensive look that you want, which they got right there, can really change the field position here, and they're in a position here to put some points on the board.
2nd and 4, Boyle in big-time trouble. Whoa, how about that shovel pass? Picked up by the tight end, Henry Woodcock. It results in just a gain of 1, but that's some pretty creative work from Ryan Boyle to get out of dodge.
This is nifty. I mean, he's got pressure in his face. He's wanting the corner out by the tight end. He gets a delayed release. He doesn't have anybody else out there, but very heads-up play, switching it to his left hand. And really, that's an incomplete pass, or what we talked about, going to get to 3rd and short.
Boyle's going to try to dive for it here.
Quarterback number 10, Ryan Boyle.
He's right on the line to gain, and they'll give it to him. 1st down for the Sycamores inside the Kansas red zone.
Yeah, and that crafty play, the play before, you look at it, you go, well, they got 5 or 6 yards, but it's the difference. It's the difference between 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 1 or 2, and you're just going to have a higher opportunity to convert those 3rd and shorts, particularly when the strength of your offense is the big boys up front. Trying to get to 3rd and 1 or 2 is going to be the entire second half story for this offense.
Whistles before the snap. Timeout for Kansas.
Timeout, Kansas. First charge timeout of the half.
So the Sycamores knocking on the door, just as they did to close out the first half. Well, the good news from way up here is that it seems like it might just be cramping here for Clinton Velasco. Played in a backup role last year for the Sycamores, but Brad Wilson, defensive coordinator for this squad, loves his playmaking ability. We've seen a slice of that here today, but he will sit out this play at the very least. 1st and 10 for Kansas. 5 yards shy of midfield. Carter Stanley's taking every snap. He'll roll out, release quickly, and complete just in front of the sideline to Dalen Charlotte.
It's a great play by Stanley. Contested throw, guy right in his face. And Stanley is not a big guy either. Guy right in his face, been able to drive the ball to the sideline. Only place you can put it. Step up, and then we call these courageous throws. When you know you're going to get hit, and he doesn't take a big hit right there, but he also doesn't know that he's not going to until that ball leaves his hand. Continue to be impressed with the way that Carter Stanley has hung in there, you know, getting his feet set and driving the ball down the field.
High formation. Stanley, well protected. Shot play down the sideline and caught. Andrew Parchment.
33-yard catch from Parchment, and Kansas is knocking on the door.
This is exactly what we've been waiting on, for them to take a shot. They get back in that 21 personnel. That's 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 2-1. They had a lot of success in the first half with it, when the way that they ran the ball caused the Sycamore defense to put a safety down in the box, which gives you one-on-one coverage outside, and finally they drop back. They say, we're going to let our guy go by you, and it's a 35-yard gain.
The previous play of a completed pass is under further review.
Parchment had to climb the ladder to haul this one in. Pick it back upstairs to take a look at it. Let's see. College is a little bit more prescribed that if it looks like a catch, then it is one. Rule book just slightly different from the NFL rule book, but the question, does he have this in his control before hitting the ground?
And that's the key component, it's control. If it stands as a catch, it's definitely a better catch than it was a throw, but you know, I'm not mad at that ball placement. You want to give him a chance. It's so easy to watch a game, you know, on TV or in the stands here and say, oh man, he's open, hit him in stride. But the reality is, when that ball leaves Carter Stanley's hand, by the amount of time that ball has to travel, receivers can gain separation. They can go from 90% full speed to 100% full speed, and that's what makes it so difficult to hit a guy in stride when, you know, when he's running 10, 15 yards down the field and the DB's running next to him, bumping arms and elbows, and the receiver's not at full speed. The quarterback sees that, and he says, all right, here's the line, here's the angle. And you know, I coach a lot of quarterbacks. I tell them we got to judge speeds and angles.
The ruling on the field stands. Completed catch. First down.
No.
You got to judge speeds and angles, and it's really difficult to do that. So I actually think that was a fantastic throw by Carter Stanley, and Parchment with a big catch. And it's exactly what this Kansas offense needed to do. They need to figure out who are the guys that are going to go down the field and make contested catches, and also who are the guys that are going to get behind the defense. And great scheme by Les Keening and great execution by the offense.
4 catches for 66 yards now. On first down, this pass just behind the intended target, James Sosinski.
And that's the type of play I want to see James Sosinski make. You know, he's, like you mentioned earlier, he's a former basketball player. When you think of a basketball player moving to football, you say, hey, this guy's going to have body control. He's going to be fluid. I love that throw. I love the timing of that throw. I love the accuracy of that throw. Putting it on him right now, right on his back shoulder before the defense can adjust, and Sosinski just not quite on the same page. But it's week 1. I'd come back to that.
Stanley under center. On second down. Herbert. Oh, how did he spin away from that first tackle? Comes up with a gain of 1 in the end.
Sycamore defense doing a much better job of contain on the backside. They've had success, this Kansas offense. Like I mentioned earlier, 21 personnel. That's 2 backs in the backfield, 1 tight end in there. Slot formation, meaning they got a tight end on one side by himself, 2 receivers on the other side. A couple of the big plays that Khalil Herbert's had has been cutting back, getting back to that tight end side. Sycamore defense had that one sniffed out.
It's a 3rd and long here. Stanley, nice pitch and catch, and right on cue, it is James Sosinski to make it a 2-possession lead for the Jayhawks. First career touchdown for the senior from Arizona.
You know, this looks eerily similar to the first completion Carter Stanley had in the game. They had that slot formation. They're getting a man look. Bring all your receivers inside. Bring the tight end to the flat. Create some space. The way you beat man coverage is leverage or matchups, and they won't on leverage there.
Just clarifying, an offensive PI on Sosinski. He released in time.
review.
For what?
Interested
Not
to see
sure.
what this is going to be.
This looks pretty cut and dry.
My guess is we're trying to see, is this a screen with linemen blocking downfield?
Wouldn't be reviewable though, would it?
They do have linemen downfield. So they got to be looking at, is he beyond the line of scrimmage?
Remember, that was the clarification made of no pass interference. Scratching my head on that one, gotta be honest.
I am intrigued to see what this is.
Gary Brown next door in the replay booth. We'll get an explanation here shortly on it.
Yeah, aside from this review, though, just looking at this series for the Jayhawk offense, they did a couple of the things that we've been talking they need to do.
Yeah.
They're lining up, they're running the ball, they're taking a shot down the field, and you know, if this touchdown stands, this is just a well-schemed play. You know, I think this is the only guy he's throwing it to, and so this is just a good job of them mixing and matching personnel groups and understanding the looks. And probably great second half adjustments here by Les King and his offensive staff, but to be able to understand that the looks that this Sycamore defense is giving them and trying to take advantage of leverage. You know, I said earlier, in man coverage, you got to win by a matchup. My guy's better than your guy, or you got to win off of a release and leverage, and that's what they had here.
Ineligible receivers not reviewable, ineligible receivers downfield not reviewable. The ball might have been touched in the neutral zone. It should count. And you know what? Going back to your point of execution from the Jayhawks and what you would want to see, all started by an interception.
After further review, the ruling on the field of the ball being touched in or behind the line of scrimmage stands. The result of the play, touchdown.
Well, a long wait for confirmation for Szynski's first career touchdown. Former All-State quarterback in high school and that former walk-on with the Jayhawks basketball program. Liam Jones to tack on the extra point. And indeed, it is a 17-3 lead for the Kansas Jayhawks. All started with the INT from McCullough. The big catch from Andrew Parchment, and then the drive finished off by the touchdown from Szynski. Kansas up by 2 possessions. Looks like Isaiah Edwards is okay, but the attrition is piling up for Indiana State.
Yeah, that's an injury of their best player at 3 different position groups. Isaiah up front, Titus McCoy the back, Dante Hendricks at receiver. Not going their way.
Yeah. It's a first. Oh, boy. The line of scrimmage. This will be a penalty on Kansas.
Offside, defense, number 90, making contact with the center. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Jelani Brown with the infraction.
It's a good job by Ryan Boyle. You know, the snap count can be an asset. It's essentially just executing that correctly is a 5-yard gain, and another thing that a quarterback can have in his tool belt. You look to have that more out of seniors, guys who are more savvy and experienced. And it's a good play by Ryan.
Caton and Morgan at the top of your picture. The man in motion, and they hand off to Curlegrand. And they just tried to reach the edge, couldn't get there. Drew Prox, excuse me, coming in for the stop after no gain. So 2nd and 5 upcoming. Boyle trying to draw him off again. Let's the play breathe here. Curlegrand in his hip pocket. And it's Boyle. And Boyle will get 1. 82. They'll credit him with 2.5 in the end. It'll bring up a 3rd and short for the Sycamores. This feels like must convert territory to stay within reach. And good for the Sycamores to have Isaiah Edwards back in that offensive line, left guard.
Yeah, I 100% agree. 3rd and short, this territory on the field, 4th quarter. Got to convert this.
Boyle, tons of time, and it's batted down to the line of scrimmage.
It's a great job. Kansas heads up play up front. You know, if you can't get to the quarterback as a defensive lineman, just the discipline to get your hands up. He realizes, you know, I'm not going to be able to get there, and the quarterback is locked and loaded, and so to stop, get off the ground, get your hands in the air. That's as good as a pass breakup by a corner. That's a big time stop, and here we are on 4th down. Chance to convert.
Caleb Brown with hand up there. A 4th and 3. Flag on the play, and a sliding grab by Montrez Morgan. Mike Lee nearby. Will it stand? That's the question. Eddie Shelton is confirming and conferring with his umpire.
Illegal formation. 5 men in the backfield, offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
You know, and Indiana State has done so much hurry up today. It's like just not getting enough guys on the ball, and unfortunate. They converted and got the look they wanted, and just little tiny plays, and now back it up 5, a little bit more difficult, but still doable. Still an important drive for the Sycamore offense.
Still the biggest play of the game. Boyle fires over the middle, caught for a touchdown by Dante Jones. And the Sycamores aren't done yet.
I love the response by Ryan Boyle. Way to stick it in here. You know, he got exactly what he wanted on the 4th and short. Due to the penalty, you back it up. That's typically such a momentum killer as a quarterback. Oh, we just had it. But now to drop back, rips one with confidence and conviction. Call those unconscious throws where I'm not worried about anything other than putting the ball exactly where I want. He gets rewarded by it. Happy to see it for him.
14-play, 77-yard drive. The extra point is good, and Indiana State is within a touchdown. Dante Jones, the senior from Westchester, Ohio. It's 16-10. Dante Jones is studying mechanical engineering. This is a well-engineered play to get Indiana State within a score.
It really is. Mike Switzer dialing it up. We'll take a peek at it here in a sec. But for now, I'm impressed by Ryan Boyle. You know, I talked about it earlier, that pace, play after critical error. What does he do after that pick last quarter? And to put that drive together, stumble on 4th and short, get backed up 5 more, drop back, see what you see and rip it in there. It's a big play for him.
4 catches, 79 yards, all coming this half. And now, it's getting a little trickier here for the Jayhawks. Let's take a look back at the touchdown.
Yeah, and they're sending somebody across in motion. That's going to tell you if it's man or zone. Nobody runs with them. It's zone. And what they're doing is they're putting this free safety on the hash here in a bind. They've got Daphne at 89 coming across the field. Dante Jones down this hash. That safety can't be right. Actually had either option, but sees the safety in the middle of the field, moves to his right, and just rips it in there. That ball can't be layered. You can't aim it. You can't guide it and layer it to him. You have to drive that ball. That's a big play for Ryan Boyle to come back, and that's what you need. When you have the injuries that they've had, you need someone else, Dante Jones, to step up, and your quarterback's got to drop him in there.
Carter Stanley back under center. Pitch into the backfield, and Herbert's bumped at the line of scrimmage. He'll pick up a half-yard. By Jonas. Sorry, Matt Thompson on the tackle, excuse me.
We knew they were going to change up personnel groups. I don't know if Hudson Hall knew he was going to play this much. They've had a fullback in the game what feels like the majority of the day, but it's been effective. Not just in terms of running the ball between the tackles, but what it's set up as well in the pass game.
Here's Williams, and Williams has a seed. Williams to the second level and past midfield. Michael Thomas brought him down after another chunk play for Dom Williams. 25 yards past midfield.
Great job at the point of attack by Hakeem Adonijay, and then Hudson Hall getting out in space and creating that layer.
On first down, this play
Ball carrier,
not nearly as successful as Williams is driven back for a loss of 3.
Stopped by number 6.
For the tackle was Clayton Glasgow. Good to see him okay. Remember, he was down for a while earlier as well for Indiana State. Still shaking out that left ankle just a bit. Clock moving with 9.5 to go. 4th quarter. Even keeping Kansas from up by 7. A missed extra point earlier in this game. Stanley drops back, pressure coming, gets past Thomas, and Stanley finally gets ripped down in the end. Isaac Fotu with the sack.
Great hustle play by Fotu. Just the motor to stay after it. Carter Stanley does a great job of evading this right here. We call this conflict climb, where you step and rip the ball through, put your foot in the ground, get back outside the pocket, but the pursuit, the relentless pursuit from backside, and Carter Stanley is an explosive athlete. He's a really good runner, and so just that motor to be able to bring him down from behind and force this third and really long. Big opportunity for Indiana State defense.
Spread here from Kansas. It's Kenning digging into his bag of tricks, and Stanley's got nowhere to go, somehow gets rid of it. But how about Indiana State and their defensive pressure? A 3 and out from the Jayhawks, and the Sycamores will have it back down by 6.
Yeah, and Kansas not having answers in protection. There's 2 free runners here, and they're sliding the pole protection to the left, asking the running back to cut the defensive end, but nobody blocks the defender inside of him. So Carter's got 2 guys in his face and does a spectacular job of extending the play, but it's hard to make 2 guys miss.
Bart, Copeland, Fotu all in on that play. There's Caton. And Caton gets a couple, give him 3 yards. And the Sycamores will start from their own 15 with 8:20 to go in Lawrence. You've got a ball game. Told you at the top of the show, Indiana State ranks 16th in the FCS poll. They are a strong program. They are confident, they're talented, they're experienced, but they have never beaten a Power 5 school. Ryan Boyle, who engineered that last drive, looking to have some more success here, as Indiana State has the momentum now. First down run from Curlegrand will pick up 1.
Yeah, and having that momentum, it's relevant as a quarterback. You talk about they turned the ball over in the red zone, and since then he's gone 5 for 6. Strike on 4th down, get pushed back with a penalty, and then another strike for a touchdown. Momentum is a real thing for this offense right now.
Well, that was nearly picked off. Mike Lee with the breakup.
We've been waiting to call his name. He's a ball hawk as well as on defense, and he's made some plays down the field, open field tackles, but finally getting a chance to read the quarterback's eyes and make a break on the ball. Almost makes a huge play for this defense.
Talk about momentum. You can squelch it right here. 3rd and 9 for the Sycamores. A big 3rd down here for the Kansas defense.
This has got to be as loud as this stadium has been in years.
Boyle drops back, well protected, rolling out. Boyle asking for time, heaves it over the middle, it's caught! Curlegrand!
Pass complete to number 9.
How about that improvisation?
Caught by number 11, Mike Lee.
Just the senior quarterback. Composure. Look at him. He's trying to get somebody on the sideline. There's somebody underneath. Great job not throwing that. But then to just have the spatial awareness to say, hey, look, I got a little bit of time here to hit the brakes, and to find your running back backside. Savvy play by the senior.
And here's more. We haven't seen Ryan Boyle run the football very much. Duprox with the tackle here after a 16-yard run from Boyle. And the Sycamores are driving again, but they may have another injury. Rontrez Morgan is down.
Another costly injury. This is their number 2 receiver. But if you're Mike Switzer, the offensive coordinator, you got to love what you're seeing out of your senior quarterback right now. Again, the critical error that he made earlier, and since then, it looks as though he's kind of made the decision to go ahead and take this game over, both in the air and on the ground here.
Yet again, though, the Sycamores, who dealt with injury trouble last year, rearing its ugly head again.
Big 12 football is brought to you by Ford. Visit your best in Texas Ford dealer today and see why Ford is America's best-selling brand.
Well, good news, Rontrez Morgan appears to be okay. Still a little bit of discomfort on the sideline here. Let's take a look. It's Indiana State with a 1st and 10. They're on 38, and it's Curlegrand tripped up at the 31 by Drew Prox. Another 7-yard gain.
And this is where defensive coordinator DJ Elliott, head coach Les Miles, really want to see this defense say, you know what, putting our foot in the ground, enough with this momentum. You're not going to run the ball on us anymore. We're a Big 12 defense. His coaching staff waiting to see who's going to step up and in this drive.
Slant route off the hands of Dante Jones.
And Dante has had a big game, big second half, filling in for the injured Dante Hendricks, but I need him to make a play here. It's 3rd down situations. They've been good when it's been short and manageable. They've had difficulties when it's been longer. That's natural. But they got a chance to do something they've never done before in being a Power 5 school. And it's these 3rd downs that are going to be what does it for them.
5 for 13 today. Boyle dropping back. Pressure coming. He's sacked by midfield. Drew Prox.
It's exactly what this defensive staff wanted to see. Not just the open field tackle. Not if we throw it to you, you're going to catch it. But who is going to make a play? Crux off the edge, coming inside, wrapping around, and the running back just not being able to get his head on the right shoulder of Crux. Comes and makes a huge play. Great job of scheming this up by DJ Elliott. We spent time with him yesterday. He's been in Colorado. He's been in a lot of places. He had a lot of success dialing up these pressures, and he dialed one up, and they needed it right there.
Travis Reiner to punt. And this will bounce Out of bounds inside the 10. They'll mark it at the 6. So while it is a long field for Kansas, their defense again comes up big.
And the story for this defense has been, for the most part, bend not break. You know, they've done a good job of keeping things in front of them, but they have allowed Kansas State to run the ball and to make plays in the pass game as well, short and intermediate plays. But they needed one right there, and they got one. And I think you credit the defensive coordinator, DJ Elliott.
And all this offense that comes on the field here. What are they going to do? Their top 2 backs only have 28 yards combined this half. Last year, Kansas opened up with Nicholls State, another FCS program, lost in overtime. As his handoff up the middle will gain him a yard. But last year, between Williams and Herbert, only 96 yards combined between their top 2 backs. Today, they only have 111 rushing yards, and they are trying to avoid another loss to an FCS school here. South Dakota State in 2015, Nicholls State in 2018.
Like I mentioned, the defensive coordinator wanting to see his defense put their foot in the ground and stop them. I want to see this offensive line, if I'm the offensive coordinator here, Les Keating. So, hey, we got to move these guys back and be able to run the ball.
Herbert picks up 2. Tackled by Mekhi Ware. Clock inside of 5 minutes to go. 3rd and 7 for the Jayhawks.
The time that we spent with Les Miles yesterday, discipline was a word that was used a lot. And that's at a premium right here. Cannot make mistakes when backed up 6. Have to be able to convert, but cannot make costly mistakes.
Sycamores showing pressure here. They rush 3, ball pops out! And it's recovered by the Sycamores in the end zone for a touchdown! Inoke Moala. This game is tied.
And yes, this is an unfortunate play for the quarterback and a lack of execution up front, but this play was started on the inability to run the ball on 1st and 2nd down. You can't put yourself in a position up 6 against a team. You're Big 12, they're FCS. You can't put yourself in a 3rd and 6 situation when you're backed up like this up 6. This is more indicative of what has not been happening for the offense on 1st and 2nd down. And you give the defense a chance to come in and make a play, and not just make this a game, but give them a chance to take the lead.
Indiana State didn't have a single defensive touchdown all of last year. And for Moala, singled out by Brad Wilson for his performance in camp, his return from injury last year, with one of the biggest scores in a long while for Indiana State football, and a program that went winless 2 years ago. Extra point to take the lead. And it's good. The Indiana State Sycamores have come back from down 16-3 to take the lead. That missed extra point from Kansas coming back to bite them now.
And a defensive touchdown on top of the missed field goals as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right. 2 misses.
Again, just shouldn't have been in a position where you're backed up like this. Really a close call, whether or not his arm was going forward or not. Didn't feel like they viewed it for too long.
No, they
as
didn't.
Close as that might have been. As much time as we spent on the Sosinski touchdown reviewing that play. But nonetheless, credit the Sycamore defense, not backing down. You know, playing really tough defense on 1st and 2nd down, putting the Jayhawks offense in a position, and that's just not a good position to put any quarterback in. And they're even trying in the screen game, but it's just these little miscommunications, hands in the wrong spot, hat on the wrong side. And those little tiny things add up, and when they do, they make a huge game-changing play that puts the Sycamores in the lead for the first time today.
Does Kansas have an answer? So go for a touchback. Since that Carter Stanley fumble earlier in the game, it has been all Sycamores. And Kansas has yet to show an answer. Just 114 yards on the ground. A lot of credit to this Indiana State defense that last year was not among the upper echelon in the Missouri Valley in that department. But Brad Wilson, their defensive coordinator, was super confident talking with him earlier this week. 3-yard pickup on first down here for Herbert, tackled by Michael Gantz.
Clayton Glasgow again in here. Physical at the point of attack. As many injuries as Indiana State has had on offense today, can the defense come in here and solidify a win? A huge win for Indiana State.
Stanley looks, throws, got his man. Parchment is tackled immediately. Pickup of 8.
Good confident throw by Carter Stanley standing there. This is a senior. This kid, again, this is his 5th offense that he's learned. Really, really difficult situation for him. His 3rd year in a quarterback competition. This is an opportunity he's been waiting on for a long time. And what an opportunity right now for him to drive down the field.
First down for the Jayhawks. Pressure coming. Stanley gets rid of it. Threw it into traffic, but it's incomplete. Took a big bump at the end of the play.
Yeah, and I like the aggressive mentality by Les Keating on offense. Hey, we're not going to just try and run the ball. But hey, we got 3.5 minutes left in this game. We need a touchdown, and we're going to have to be aggressive. I like the mentality. Can they execute?
On second down, Stanley, lots of time, looking sideline, and it's caught by Charlotte. Dalen Charlotte with a big grab. And a pickup into plus territory for the Jayhawks after a 27-yard catch.
And a great back shoulder ball. 2 people have to be on the same page. The wideout, quarterback, great execution there.
On first down, a Herbert. Wrapped up by Caleb Brewer. We'll take you back to the catch from Charlotte.
And Dalen Charlotte, you have to be able to, as a wide receiver, throw a back shoulder. You have to have the threat of a deep ball. He does that. You also have to have the body control. Third, you have to have the accuracy. Another confident throw by the senior.
2nd and 6 for the Jayhawks. Clock inside of 3 minutes. Stanley heaves it sideline over the outstretched hands of Stephon Robinson, who had that spectacular grab along the sideline earlier in this game. 3rd and 6.
Yeah, and spacing just tough on that one. You know, they had success earlier in the game with that slot fade, but space is an issue. That receiver has to leave space on the sideline, or there's nowhere to go with the ball, and that was the case on that one.
2:46 on the clock. On 3rd and long, Stanley has his man. Parchment makes a man miss, cuts it back to the middle, and is ripped down at the 21-yard line by Jonas Griffith. A first down for the Jayhawks after an 11-yard pickup.
And in talking with the offensive staff, that was a question mark. Who's going to be our guy that steps up and make plays? And man, they've moved Parchment around a lot today. Jet sweeps, crossing routes, just getting it to him in the flat, letting him give some space to make a move, and great individual effort by him to extend this drive, and that was much needed 3rd down conversion for the Jayhawks. But credit to Carter Stanley. I know that's an easy throw there, but this drive, a couple very confident throws by this senior quarterback who's been waiting a long time for an opportunity like this.
5 years at Kansas as the opening day start. Stanley on first down, looking in zone, caught, touchdown Jayhawks, Dalen Charlotte, and Kansas has the lead again.
This is an absolute dime by Carter Stanley. The only place it can be. I mentioned earlier, his family back home in Florida, gotta be proud watching this.
With that national championship ring from LSU in full view.
That's a big old ring.
It is. And the senior transfer from Alabama, Dalen Charlotte, shows Alabama over LSU out of high school. He had offers from both. Now gets to play for Les Miles. And 8 plays, 75-yard drive, 2 minutes off the clock.
Timeout, Kansas.
And a timeout taken here. Up by 5. Go for 2. You can make it a 7-point game.
Dalen Charlotte, another example. You know, he caught the back shoulder fade a minute ago. But contested catches, that's full extension. As young receivers, we talk about high pointing the football, catching the ball as far away from your body as possible. And when you transfer from a school like Alabama, you come here, Kansas, the number one thing that you want is for a team to rely on you and give you an opportunity to make plays. And that's exactly what Les Keating, offensive coordinator, has done today. But it also takes accuracy. And again, I can't say it enough. Carter Stanley standing in there, confident throws, ton of conviction on him, and a ton of accuracy when it's needed. Big drive for him.
Here's another test for the 5th-year senior. 2-point conversion to make it a 7-point game. Stanley on the end around. It's a little bit of trickery from Les Miles. And a 2-point conversion from the Jayhawks. Jack Luavasa hauls it in after the pitch and catch from Andrew Parchment. We were wondering whether we would see a little bit of the Les Miles playbook in game number 1, and we have our answer.
Was it going to be a fake field goal, fake punt? And right here, 1 to call, you got to go for 2 here, but to have the confidence to do this, Jake Luavasa, a guy who played in every game last year and did not register a catch, registers a big one here. And again, Parchment, the playmaker, they've handed it to him, they've tossed it to him, they've thrown it to him, and they've given him a chance to throw it as well. What a fantastic answer for this Kansas Jayhawk team. And you can feel it. You can feel the energy in this crowd. They've had some big basketball wins here, and they've had energy inside the field house, but now it's in this stadium, and this is a special moment right now for this Kansas football program.
Still 2:20 to go, but you want this man's debut to be a good one. You only have one chance to make a first impression. Jayhawks up by 7. This kick ball goes 2 yards deep in the end zone for a touchback. So now the question, Jordan, can Ryan Boyle engineer another drive?
Well, he has. This has been the story today of 2 senior quarterbacks making some gutty plays. Being opportunistic. When the Sycamore offense needed it, Ryan Boyle dropped back on 4th down, frozen rope for a touchdown. Now that's a duel. Now Carter Stanley puts together 3 or 4 great balls. The touchdown's an absolute dime. And, you're a senior quarterback. You're having a day like he's having today. You want the ball in your hands at the end of the game, and he's going to get it. 2:20 to go. 2 timeouts.
Graham stopped at the line of scrimmage. Burrows his way forward for a yard. Clock moving, 2:10 to go. Cody Cole for the tackle.
Cody Cole, number 97, Darius already.
Plenty of time for the Sycamores. 2 timeouts to work with as the clock moves inside of 2 minutes. Boyle overthrows his man. He intended for Dominique Daphne. 3rd down for the Sycamores.
And inside of 2 minutes, the decision here is this 4-down territory? If it is, they don't need 9 yards. If it's not, they got to convert here. Keep in mind, Kansas does not have any timeouts.
Checks the play. 5 on the play clock. Pressure coming. Boyle gets rid of it, and it's complete to Joe Wilt along the near sideline. Kyle Mabry with the tackle. We'll get him within an earshot after a pickup of 6. And Indiana State will call timeout here with 1:39 to go. And this play effectively becomes the game.
Yeah, and it looks like they definitely saw this as 4-down territory, which I totally agree with it. You're Kurt Mallory, you're on the road, you got a chance to, you've already proven that you can battle back. I mean, they've stood toe-to-toe with the Kansas Jayhawks in every phase, all 3 phases all day. Look at 3rd and 9, hey, we're in 4-down territory, we're gonna get a piece back. And put yourself in a position to extend this drive. And if they do, they still have a timeout. They've got 1:39 left. Can use the clock. They got a senior quarterback who understands clock management. They've got some savvy veterans. But it has to all come together. When you look at putting together a 2-minute drive, it can't just be a great throw here. It can't just be a big-time play there. It's got to be 5 guys blocking up front, no missed communication, accuracy, and some confident throws by the quarterback. Let's see if they can put it together.
4th down and 2 at the 33.
Boyle looks to the outside, incomplete. Hassan defense on the coverage. The Jayhawks will take over with 1:35 to go.
Yeah, just didn't get the look that they wanted. That's a long throw across the field, short of the 1st down. And as we look at back at this play, only need 2 yards, but to stretch the field, a good play, another play. Hassan defense has been around the ball a lot today, but when you're going to drive the ball across the field to the perimeter, accuracy's at a premium. And unfortunate for that Sycamore offense that's played so well in the 2nd half.
Well, it was not without drama. But game number 1 of the Les Miles era in Lawrence, Kansas will have a winning outcome. This is a guy who at Big 12 Media Day was thrilled to be reacquainted with this conference. Former head coach at Oklahoma State turned that program around. And of course now they're a contender years on from them. He said in his introductory press conference he wants to end his career with championships. He wants to have an end on his own terms. It was a long tenure at LSU, but every coach has a shelf life, and Les Miles encountered his. Now a chance to build a program up from a pretty low bar. 97 losses here over the last 10 years, and a chance to really build it from scratch.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 things he wanted today. One, he wanted to prove things to this fan base. He wanted to prove that they can play with discipline, they can play with energy, prove that they're some of the new talent that they brought in, you know, are guys that can play for this program for a while. And then I think he also wanted to find out some things about his team. He wanted to see, can we stop the run? Do we have somebody who can make plays down the field? And a couple guys have emerged. And I think there's a lot of things that they learned. Parchman is a guy that sticks out to me, that steps up. Again, keep in mind, they get Puka Williams back next week. It's true. Who is the star of the offense. But they also have some things to clean up. You know, they're looking at 7 penalties, 53 yards, 3 turnovers. You know, we're pretty limited on the ground, 119 yards rushing, and so I think they learned a lot about their team in terms of what they can build on and what they're excited about. But they also learned what areas need to be addressed. And you know, if I'm a KU fan and I'm looking at, you know, this new hire and this program and this win today, I'm saying, look, I see a lot of things to be excited about, and the things that do need to be addressed, if I had to pick somebody in the coaching ranks right now to address it, it'd be a guy like Les Miles. Again, one of 5 coaches that are coaching today that have won a national championship. That's rare company, and guys like that don't come through the door very often.
Spare a word, too, for Carter Stanley, who in his 5th year with this program gets the call on opening day. He's been in the running for the quarterback job 3 straight years now. Gets the call here today and gets to close it out.
Yeah, this is special for him. You got to feel great for him. The patience that it takes to go through all that, and for him to walk off the field taking a knee with the ball in his hands.
Les Miles, successful opening game. A 24-17 victory over Indiana State. Maybe a bit of a heart attack at times for the Jayhawk faithful, but they come out on top against a very good Indiana State team who showed well here today. But the day belongs to the Kansas Jayhawks, who, as you mentioned, will get their top running back in the lineup next week. And for Les Miles, a successful start to his tenure in Lawrence, Kansas.
You know, we spent a week or so leading up to this game trying to figure out who the quarterback was going to be and if we were going to see both of them. Was it going to be Thomas McVitie? I think the Jayhawks found their quarterback. The way that he played that last drive, they've got a quarterback. Next week, they've got their starting running back. And I like the production out of the other running backs. And then they got some stops on defense, and they've continued the trend of creating turnovers on defense that they had last year. They've carried that trend over to today. I think if you're a KU fan and you're looking at this, trying to figure out where this program's headed, it is heading in the right direction. And that was a very good Indiana State team that they just beat, who fought till the end. And it's a great job on Les Miles' debut.
Can't argue with the outcome. Some work to do, no doubt, but next week against Coastal Carolina, we'll have some positives to look back on. And another defensive touchdown for the Jayhawks as well. Once again, our final score, Kansas 24, Indiana State 17. For Jordan Palmer and our entire crew, I'm Alex Faust as we say so long from Lawrence, Kansas. You've been watching Big 12 College Football.